Maria.
Hello, darling.
Do you like coming to the group?
Yeah?
Do you like coming?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I love singing and dancing.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it, yeah. Although I can't sing to save myself, but I get a bash.
Who's your ultimate favourite?
Rod Stewart.
Look in there. Look in there and say it. Don't look at me.
Stewart.
Welcome everybody, it's good to see you. There's a change in their body shape, some smiles, maybe a movement of the hands, joining in, spontaneous clapping, all sorts of wonderful things.
Something in this music makes them... There's something clicks in here.
Something like this just provides a little bit of respite, a little bit of a chance for folk to be human together, and I think that's really important.
Gathering in this place.
There are about 90,000 people living with dementia in Scotland at the current time. We believe it's really important that no one should go through dementia alone. And all our focus is on providing support, information and advice and specialist services for people who have dementia and their families and friends that are caring for them.
Beyond bonny banks and beyond bonny breeze, where the sun shines bright, oh Loch Lomond.
I go to church on the Sunday, I was talking about my mammy because I think maybe I needed to talk about my mammy. And what I was talking about was my mother, dementia and different things, and how she sang, and how she... I think that's where the idea came from.
Obviously, it was pertinent to myself because my mum suffers from dementia. So we had a conversation in a meeting and just decided we were going to try to get some funding to see if we could... we'd heard about other dementia cafes, but to see if we could get something up and running within our local area.
We've seen how difficult it is for them to take part in events and how pressurising it can be for the family, because so much of life then becomes about hospital appointments, doctors, putting your socks on. We decided that we would offer the chance for folk to come together and sing together, and that we would have an afternoon tea in an accessible and pleasant environment and just see who came.
The feedback that we have from people with dementia is they don't want to feel segregated. They don't want their life to be 100% only linked in with things that are dementia related. So having really flexible and supportive community activities in their local area that are on their doorstep, that are welcoming and that are inclusive is a huge and positive bonus for people. It makes a huge difference to people's confidence and to their self-esteem to feel connected to their local community in that way.
We put flyers in doctor surgeries, libraries. We liaised with Alzheimer's Scotland. So I think we're now publicised on their website so that folk who are looking for something to do with a relative can find it.
Set the tables up, put the wee plates out, and then once the cakes are on, and water in case they want water, make it as party looking and looking as inviting as possible. They love it. They really love it.
It brings out a side of the resident that you don't normally see. So, yeah, I think it helps the carer get to know the resident that wee bit more as well. You know, just by finding out what kind of songs that they liked, and you know, and then you can go into things like, did they dance to that song? What dancing did they go to? It helps you find out a lot about a resident.
It's like a flower opening up. It's so beautiful to see, because you see them, the face changes, actually changes, and you see the joy and normality in their faces. They're who they should be how they would want to be for that wee, 2 years, hour and a half to 2 years, who they want to be. And they're loving every minute of it.
It's amazing to see, like, they might not remember certain things, but they all seem to remember the words to every single song that they sing, which is really good. Again, I think that's the reason why singing is such an important thing for people with dementia, you know.
I think for the family as well, it's such a relief to have a glimpse of your mum or your dad or your gran again, and to have something normal when everything else can seem quite a struggle. And I think that's what really motivated us. We wanted to create a welcoming environment where people could be together and enjoy one another's company.
It's a long way to Tipperary, it's a long way to go.
Sometimes they can be quite low-mooded before we actually bring them, and when they get here, it seems to lift their mood tremendously. I've even had carers saying that when we bring them back to the home, the change in that person, and it carries on for the whole day. It's not just like, you know, while they're here, it actually lifts their mood for the whole day.
My heart's right there.
We were really lucky. I thought that we might have to pay a musician, but we found Anne Walker, who coincidentally at the same time was getting interested in the potential of using her music skills in Sing for Life. And so she volunteers with us, and that makes it all possible.
A lot of the sessions are themes, so I could use a theme like Doon the Water or maybe songs from the 40s, but I've also found that it's good to do some warm-up exercises, some vocal exercises, some unaccompanied singing and rounds, and that seems to be really popular. It's quite important to try and incorporate singing, fun, and maybe a little bit of movement. And the hokey cokey, despite me trying not to do it a few times, is an absolute favourite, and I've got to do it every week.
You put your right arm in, you put your right arm out, in, out, shake it all about.
It can be done very simply. I think if you've got enthusiasm and you can tune into the kind of songs that people want to sing, and that can vary from week to week, age group to age group, depending who comes to your group, I think you need very, very little in the way of musicianship. And my ukulele playing, I only know 3 chords, but I managed to do some singing sessions with that. So, and that's just putting 3 fingers on an instrument and strumming and singing and being enthusiastic.
See, oh, hokey cokey cokey, oh, hokey cokey cokey, oh, hokey cokey cokey. That's what it's all about. See.
Alzheimer's Scotland is there to support everyone who wants to link up with us and work with us to make a difference for people with dementia. And we are very flexible. We recognise that organisations work in really, really different ways, and we will work alongside people. Sometimes organisations want to work through things gradually, don't want to commit to something that might be too big for them straight away, and we're happy to work with people at whatever pace suits them, whether it's an individual who's worried about their memory or a person who's diagnosed with dementia, right through to community networks and organisations that want to support them.
At the beginning, we had a small grant that we got through a participatory budgeting process of £500, and that allowed us to buy our pennies, our aprons, and also to look at supplying the afternoon tea and the photocopying.
We know several people in our church and community who are living with dementia and would like to try and do something to help.
There are quite a few funding avenues. There's a fund called Ageing Well Scotland, which has dispersed some funding from the Scottish Government, which allows groups to apply for small amounts of money to support this kind of work. And we have been supported in that by the Transformation Team, which is part of Faith and Communities Scotland. My advice would be look for local funds, because you're more likely to engage with a small local charity.
Why do you like the music?
I just love it.
Can you tell me why?
I love it, and I just feel it on me, to be honest. Aye.
Does it make you feel happy?
Oh, aye.
We just can't get enough of it now, you know, I would never miss it now, and the residents are just having such a good time, so yeah, definitely bring your the residents along, it's a great thing for them.
I'd advise any carer to try and find out where these clubs are. If they can't find one, start one up. It's so easy. It's so easy.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind?
People living with dementia and their carers could start small as they begin to get to know people, just to create a little social environment which just breaks up the monotony of life, but also just allows for some laughter, for some fun, and can stimulate memory in the process.
I would encourage anybody who thinks that they might be able to do it just to push through, because it's really important work.
Alzheimer's Scotland has a free phone helpline which is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's there for people who want information about memory problems, about dementia, about caring. But it's also there for people who want to get in touch with their local dementia advisor in their local area.